So then guys, whether you want to believe it or not, the iPhone 16e is now considered the budget new iPhone, with tariffs or not tariffs. It's one of those sort of things. But we do have a new competitor in the ring. We have the Google Pixel 9a, what I have right here, what costs $100 less than what we actually pay for the iPhone 16e. This costs $499 and this costs $599. But how much more of a phone are we getting with the Pixel 9a compared to Apple's budget phone? Or is Apple's phone actually a better buy over this? Well, let's compare today. We're going to do lots of different kinds of tests, like the battery test. We're also going to check out some benchmarks, do some photography, and also I'm going to give you my opinion on which phone you should go for probably your needs. But first of all, let's unbox then this Pixel 9a. So what we have right here then is the Pixel 9a box. So yeah, it's quite nice and everything. So we just need to unpeel these bits at the back and get into it. And it's kind of like a recycled sort of cardboard kind of box. But once we open it, there we go. We've got the Pixel straight underneath. It's in like a paper wrap. Let's just take that out, put that to one side. See what else we've got right here. We've also got like a large cable, obviously no charger or anything like that. We've also got like a little booklet here full of pages and things like that. And obviously got your SIM card remover. But then we've also got the Pixel 9a. Let me just peel this off, or should I actually say tear it off. And here is the Pixel 9a then in black. And there we have it then. So we've got the Pixel 9a here. And let me just show you a bit of a comparison then compared to the normal iPhone 16e in its kind of sort of body shape and things like this. Well, to start with, we can see that, the iPhone is definitely the smaller with its 6.1-inch display compared to the 6.3-inch in the Pixel, what we have here. But yeah, looking at the actual sort of design, sort of language here, with the iPhone, obviously, this is made out of aluminum and everything. And can you see that? Can you see the camera actually intruding out there, the lens? This is probably one of the big things to say the difference here compared to, say, the Pixel. Obviously, with its one, obviously, it doesn't stick out nowhere near as much. Obviously, this does have a different kind of metal that this is made out of. This is actually a satin metal frame we have on this one, but they both feel good. But I am saying I'm getting some fingerprint marks here on the Pixel. Definitely, it's definitely sticky there, as you can see, but maybe the black iPhone 16e may do the same. But let's do some more sort of kind of comparisons and differences here. Obviously the surface on the back's like a glass here. Like I said, the frames, we've got that steel satin, that aluminum kind of sort of feeling here. But I would actually say the iPhone feels a bit more premium in the hand, in my opinion. But for buttons wise, on the same sides here, obviously, don't want to drop it. We have the power and volume rocker on the Google Pixel. We have everything on one side, where we have the power just only on the one side on the iPhone, whereas on the other side of the iPhone, we have the volume rockers and that action button, whereas the Pixel, there's absolutely nothing on that other side there. And then obviously just flipping down to the very bottom of this phone, obviously we have USB-C, what we have on the bottom of these, they're both USB 2.0 sort of speeds. We have the speaker, we have the microphone, different setup. SIM cards on the bottom here on the Google Pixel, that is a different. Obviously my 16e is obviously, I'm going to say this is a European, it's a British version, so we have the physical SIM card. I'm trying to get into my Pixel, but I can't. And then let's just see if I can actually get into my iPhone. There we go. And at the same time, let me actually just bring those down a little bit there for you guys. But you can see now the screen difference, definitely, that we do have a larger display. Now, one thing I've noticed straight away is that we have bigger bezels on the Pixels on this one. But look, if I just show you the brightness, maybe you'll be able to see the might be able to see those bezels a little brighter there. Let's just go back out. Can you see that? So yeah, definitely thicker bezels compared to the iPhones. That's one thing I would say is a big difference. But the actual sort of display that we got here on the Pixel is definitely better. Especially it does come with a 120 Hertz display refresh rate, whereas the iPhone 16e still, as I would say, has the pathetic 60 Hertz. So nowhere near as good. And obviously things are much more buttery smooth here, moving around on the 9a compared to the 16e. Now, I would say there's one advantage that the iPhone 16e has, and that is compatible with MagSafe cases, just like this one I have from ESR. And in fact, ESR is today's sponsor. And the reason why this case is so cool is because you can even use it with, say, the new G2 3-in-1 wireless charging station with Cryo Boost built in. So just to show you, I'm in my ESR case and I can just clip on here with MagSafe And there we go, we're starting to charge up here. And here's a little close-up of that happening too. And also the great thing is you can charge up other devices, like you could charge up your AirPods and also your Apple Watch, what is amazing. Now, something else what makes this wireless charger or this MagSafe charger even better is that it's Qi 2 certified. So this means then you can actually charge up to 15 watts of charging if your device allows you to do that. And then ESR have their Cryo Boost feature too. And what this means is that there's a small fan inside of here what's cooling down the back of the iPhone whilst it's charging it. So your iPhone won't overheat. In fact, it can actually cool down up to 10 degrees Fahrenheit than compared to other chargers out there. The other great thing about this ESR Qi 2 3-in-1 charger is that it has a 32-bit processor inside of it, what actually controls the charging process, enhances efficiencies, and ensures real-time safety measures. So this means you can just leave your devices on here to charge and not worry about it at all. But not only this, ESR also have this right here. This here is the Qi 2 magnetic wireless car charger, or Halo Lock. And just like the 3-in-1 charger here, it's also MagSafe compatible. And in fact, the magnets in here are super strong. So even like if I shake it here, you can see that the phone is staying on really stable. So this means when you actually attach this inside your car, for example, and you want to use, say, maps or something like this, or just charge up your phone. And if you go over bumps and things like this, you'll know you'll have no problems with this, as the magnets inside of this are up to 88% stronger than other rivals out there. The great thing is, again, this is Qi 2 compatible, so this means, again, you get the same up to 15 watts of charging capability, what is really, really great. You've also got Cryo Boost all over again to keep it nice and cool, so if you're in a car that's getting really, really hot, the great news is this will cool down while you're actually charging up your battery, so that's really great news to hear. And if you want to check out the Qi 2 3-in-1 or the wireless car charger, make sure you check out all the details that are in the description of this video. And with that, let's continue on then with this comparison. Now, one thing to also point out, this here is the Pixel 9, and yeah, you can definitely tell there's a difference this time. Obviously, we've got this big camera bar sticking out there. I don't know if you can actually see that sort of sticking out there, whereas obviously the Pixel 9a doesn't have any kind of camera sticking out whatsoever. It's really quite flush, actually. It's not 100% flush, but you know, it's the flushest sort of phone I've seen in ages with its cameras. This is pretty cool to actually see compared to even, say, the Pixel 9 that we have right here. But enough with that though, with the Pixel 9, back to the iPhone 16e. Let's have a look then at some benchmarks, because obviously what we have inside of here, we have that Tensor G4 chip inside of this, the same one was inside the Pixel Fold, yeah, the Pro Fold, whatever it is, Fold Pro, the Pixel 9 Pro, the XL and that one, the normal, and then obviously the normal Pixel 9 right here, but that same chip has been put into here, but obviously it only has 8 gigabytes of RAM inside the Pixel 9a, what we have here. But we do have the normal A18 inside of this. And then obviously inside of that too, we actually have 8 gigabytes of RAM. I think one core has also been knocked out, obviously, as well. But let's have a look then at some benchmarks. Now, to begin with, I've actually started out with Geekbench. Now, I'm going to tell you this now. I know the A18 is going to beat out the G4. And if you know anything about technology, you'll know this too. So let's have a look at the scores. And yeah, no surprise here whatsoever. Look at this. The iPhone 16e with the A18, this is the 6-core CPU. It doesn't have the 4-core GPU, but we'll get onto that in a moment. The single core score is 3,233 compared to 1,488. That is over double the single core performance of the G4 Tensor, what we've got in the Pixel 9a. And in fact, just look at the multi-core performance of the Pixel 9a. It's 4,020. That's just only a little above the single core performance on an iPhone 16e's performance core, one of its performance cores. And yeah, that's quite shocking. And even more shocking is here, is just look at the multi-core performance. That is almost double, I'm going to say probably is about double of what we had of the Pixel 9a on the G4 with its 8-core CPU setup, where obviously with the iPhone 16 we've got the 6-core setup. Now, what I've decided to do after this, I've decided to move over and just do a 3D Mark Still Nomad Unlimited test here, and I've just got this running. And let's have a look at then the average kind of frames per second that we got on the end. Now, the iPhone 16e A18, obviously the 4-core GPU version, you can see we've got 13.6 frames per second, whereas with the Pixel 9a Tensor G4. I don't know how many cores you have in the GPU. There's not much information about that. But you can see only got 9.1 frames per second. So just out in just the CPU, we are definitely getting a full flagship kind of chip in the iPhone 16e, where we're kind of definitely getting that mid-range kind of performance in a Pixel 9a. So moving on then from this, what about photography? Well, what I've actually done is I've actually done a number of different kind of tests of photography, and you can see the actual differences right here with the photographs. Now, first of all, one of the big advantages is the Pixel 9a actually has an ultra-wide camera, as you can see right here, and is taking a great shot, something what the iPhone 16e is completely lacking. So yeah, straight away, this wins, just hands down, because it's got this ability. But if we go to one-time zoom here on my famous sort of tree picture that I like to do, well, we can see there is not much difference. I'd say the sky is probably the big one to actually take in here. It's kind of semi-dusk when this picture's been taken here. And personally, I think the Pixel does do a better job here on this. And then even going up to a digital crop of 2x zoom, both have that ability to give you that kind of optical sort of range. I would still favor the Google Pixel. Now, if we go up to all the way up to the maximum zoom capability here, what is interesting is that both of these phones actually have 48 megapixels inside of them, but for this normal sort of lenses, but like I was going to say, is that we only get an 8x zoom, digital zoom here on the Pixel 9a, where we can go up to 10x here with the iPhone 16e, what's pretty crazy to actually have right here. But then moving over then to actual sort of different kind of photography, let's have a look then at, say, so kind of like a macro, a kind of close-up of this flower right here. And I'm going to say again, I favor the Google Pixel here. I think it's doing a far better job of the photo. It's doing a far better, clearer version of this, in my honest opinion. But then if we moved over to, say, a nighttime photo, in my opinion, I think the actual iPhone looks better on this one. Nighttime photography is just coming out a little bit more clearer than the Google Pixel 9a with its photography sort of shot here. Notice that sort of tree in the foreground here, that's coming out a little bit more clearer. That's something what I've noticed here. But then the actual selfie cameras on the actual front, you can see right here. Personally, I think they're kind of neck and neck here. I really cannot tell the difference here whatsoever. But then after that then, what about videos there? How good are videos then on this? Because obviously this is one of the big things that Apple normally gets way out in front. Let's have a look then to see how good video quality is. So first of all, on the iPhone 16e here, so at 1x zoom capability, and then obviously I can go up to a 2x zoom here, but then I can actually do a digital crop and we can go all the way up to a 6x zoom capability there. And obviously if we go all the way back down to a 1x zoom, there it is. And that's how have a look then at the Pixel 9a. So we're now on the Pixel 9a. Now the great thing about the Pixel is obviously we can film at 0.5x zoom, as you can see right here. We can go up to the 1x zoom capability, and then we can go up to 2x, just like the iPhone, but we can then pinch to zoom, but we can actually go up to 7x zoom capability. But as you can see things here, they're quite out of focus here on that tree. But let's just go back to 1x zoom again, then to 0.5 here with the Pixel 9a. Now, obviously, moving on from this then with both these phones, we can actually do a lot of different sort of AI sort of bits and pieces and features to help you out. Apple's one has been very slow to roll out, as we all know about. I know loads of other YouTubers have talked about that. Google, though, have been very good with theirs. So, you know, what they've ever been promising that's going to come out has actually come out on their phone. So this is really, really cool to see. And look, let's have a look at some examples here, like the Image Playground, for example, or the Pixel Studio. So with both of these AI apps open, I've asked them both to create me a dog in a sun hat. That's probably the easiest thing I can think of. And you can see the results here. What's quite interesting is obviously if I change them to both having a cartoon kind of look, they're both quite similar actually. It's quite interesting, got the same kind of dog, same type of hat really. Obviously the background's a bit different, but yeah, it's interesting to see what the AI models are generated on, that they're very similar here. That is quite interesting. Now, obviously what you can also do, you can actually change around the picture a bit, you know, you can make it more like a sketch or something like this, but I would say the Pixel has more options here, if you're interested in this kind of sort of work here. But let's also do another example of AI. Let's say, for example, we want to actually take a picture and let's clean up that picture. What's the differences that we have right here? So I've taken the sort of near identical kind of photo right here, and this is the ability to kind of remove this cable out of this picture. Now, interesting with the iPhone, it's found it straight away and, highlighted it, done that kind of glowy sort of Siri kind of look, Apple Intelligence look, and you can get rid of it straight away. Now, what you have to do though with the Pixel though, you actually have to say, do a search, as it were. Find out for me. And the picture sort of disappears. As you can see right here, we have to wait. And then after that, it does reappear. And yeah, it didn't really find anything. So I've actually had to circle this cable out and got rid of it. And personally, in my opinion, what I can see right here, I actually think that the iPhone has done a better job with just the eraser tool here of something so simple, just removing the cable. I know that the Google Pixel can do more kind of AI things with photos by moving things around, adding things, but just a simple task like this, actually the iPhone's done a better job here. But then the next big question that you guys probably want to know about then is what about battery life on this? Because both these phones have actually claimed for fantastic battery life in them. And that's partly the reason with the Pixel 9a that we actually have this sort of slim kind of camera sort of profile on the back, because it's a little bit thicker now and we have a bigger battery inside. In fact, it's just over a 5,000 milliamp battery inside of this phone, what we have right now. But as you can see from my actual results right here, by doing all these tests and everything, we can see that the Pixel 9a is at 78%, whereas the iPhone 16e, well, that's at 71% battery. So with that then, the Pixel 9a is definitely out in front, but as we all know, the iPhone, the A18 is a far better chip, as we saw earlier in benchmark kind of tests. So maybe it's sucking up more power for that reason. It's definitely a more powerful kind of phone out there. But at the end of the day, the other thing I would also say is obviously Google have also claimed, up to a 30-hour day battery life. Well, it's not even 30 hours in a day, but you get the idea. 30-hour battery life, whereas with Apple, well, up to 26 hours. And I think in those percentages there, you could actually see that kind of semi-reflected. That is probably the actual scenario you're actually going to get there. So I would actually say the Google Pixel is giving us better battery life. But something else what I did mention earlier is obviously, with the iPhone, we do also have that wireless sort of charging capability with a MagSafe case if you wanted to do that. But obviously the Pixel, well, unless a MagSafe case gets invented for it, doesn't have it, but it does have wireless charging capability, but really it's as slow as the iPhones there. And then even USB-C sort of charging, they're around about neck and neck in kind of the sort of speeds there. You're not really going to notice any difference. But when it comes down to the crunch time then, which phone would I pick? Well, I think it depends on your needs. Now, what I mean by that is, say for example, you don't care about, operating system. You don't care if you're on iOS or Android, because both of them are going to get updates going forwards into the future for a very long time. iPhones, I can predict, this 16e is going to get updates next 6 to 7 years. And it's the same thing. What Google are promising is up to about the same sort of time, sort of period on that. But where the big differences comes for me is to do with that Tensor chip in here, the G4. Where I'm starting to get a bit worried is, say, in 3 years from now, that Tensor G4, obviously it's not super slow, but obviously it's way slower than kind of any other Snapdragon, the A18, the A18 Pro, and the A18 was even in here. And yeah, I do wonder in 4 years' time how fast Android will be on this phone. How fast will, say, AI capabilities, because they're going to get even more advanced. Are they going to work on a phone like this with feature drops? So I would come down to this conclusion. If you are thinking of upgrading to a new budget phone and you plan to only keep it for, say, 3 years or so and then sell it on, recycle it or whatever, I would say the Pixel 9a is probably actually the better bet. But with that then, I would also say though, if you're planning to keep your phone and literally run it into the ground, buy it today, keep it for 5 to 6 years, and making sure that it's going to be nice and speedy still in 6 years' time from now, the Pixel 6e is the phone I would go for personally on that basis. Now, obviously, we have seen comparisons in cameras and things like that, and that might also change your decision too. But overall, that is the bit where I would actually put it down to, is how long you plan to keep on the phone on choosing on both of these. That's where I would look at it, but that's just my opinion there. But what do you guys think? Do you think the Pixel 9a is definitely a great phone out there? It costs $100 less than the iPhone 16e? Is it something that you would even consider? Well, let me know in the comments below. And with that as well, guys, it's time to wrap up this video too. So if you have enjoyed watching it, please do press the like button. And also, if you want to hear the latest comparisons, reviews, and everything like that, make sure you subscribe to this channel and also hit that notification bell. Until next time, guys, I'll see you really soon. Take care. Bye-bye.